Hey everybody, you know me. I'm doing this without any kind of practice, preamble, nothing. So today is January 1st, 2026. 2025 for me is finally over. I said that today I'm gonna turn over a new leaf. I've realized that sadly, when you don't have any safety nets and you ask for help, um, there's a good chance that you're not going to get it. Tried all of my fail safes that were possible, government wise, be it provincial or federal. Um, if you're ever going to run your own business, always pay into WCB yourself. Um, yeah, I got paid good on my private benefits, but only for 2 years. I took some poor advice, and now I pay the consequence. Anyways, another thing you want to know: don't decide when you're sitting in a sling to go researching about government during COVID. I am a proud member of a political party, a proud founder of a political party. I ran in the federal election for said political party, but I'm here as Daryl. I am not here as a member of that political party. Maybe in the future I will be again. Of course, you got your steps you got to follow. But if I am so honored to be able to run for said political party again, I will. If and when I can convince people to join said political party, I will. That's not what this is about. Today is about, well, I was going to do a fancy video where I could flip from front to back and show you a little of my life as it is right now. But that's not possible the way it is. So tonight I'm just sitting in my man cave / office. You can see some of the diehard interests behind me, be it sports cards, Star Wars, Edmonton Oilers. Grew up and live on that. I'm proudly wearing a Christmas present that I got from my wife. Shows who I am. Just because I live in Saskatchewan doesn't mean I have my opinions about Alberta. Mr. Lukaszuk, if that's how you say your last name, can you please unblock me? I'm proud of what you've done, and I'd be doing the same. I will do the same if Saskatchewan does something so stupid. I'm Canadian. Anyways, starting this year, I am going to be starting my sole proprietorship back up. I have gotten my scary debts behind me, namely because of a very strong wife with showing me that wedding vows do mean something. With her help and a new mortgage, mind you, I can start over. However, not perfectly. I need to come up with a way to make this work for me. So there's several ideas I have. Namely, I have a sports collectible business or sole proprietorship, Frozen Penguin Collectibles. I'm on YouTube. I did have a presence a couple other places. I had to let that go after my injury insurance was done because I no longer had operating capital. So since then till now, I haven't made any money. Zero money. It's only been my wife, Shondell. We went from a very well-to-do two-income family to a one-income family during some pretty tough times. So you know how strong my wife really is. It's time for me to get back in the saddle. I love sports cards, but I haven't been able to do anything. I've never been able to get my office completely built. I will do a video of everything showing you where it is, but the rest of my career, I started out as a flooring tech. Before that, I actually majored in construction in high school, came in second place for the seniors award graduation year. I built a grandfather clock, took me 2 years. I lost out to a good friend, Leroy. He built a pool table. I actually had to go back and finish my project after the fact because it was such a large thing to take on as a grade 12 student. Anyways, I've always loved to work with my hands. I've always loved to work with wood. So I left flooring tech behind me in the year 2000. More or less, I started doing other work in 2000. I still was a flooring tech in the same time, but I started doing renovations and different kinds like stuff like that. A lot of people probably don't know that, but I have been in the residential and like commercial my entire life up until I got hurt. Anyways, 2009, I quit working for the flooring company that I was in partnership with. A lot of things that people don't realize is floor layers tend not to get the benefit of being employees. We are forced to be sole proprietors, and with that comes things that make life a little bit more difficult, but at the same time we can take holidays when we want, so on and so forth. So my entire life I've always worked as a sole proprietor. In 2009, I went from being patent floor covering. I bought my dad out in the year 2000. In 2009, I became patent contracting. And that is when I started working for another company doing nothing but renovations and rebuilds for insurance, etc. I did that for 3 years, and then I went out on my own and was quite successful. Sadly, the crash of 2015/16 really set me back. Again, I took poor advice from a banking business and listened to them, and instead of telling me what I should have done, they told me what I shouldn't have done. I used all of my savings, 100% of it, to try and keep my business running as it was. And then when the time came that I had no more money to work with, that's when they told me that there's nothing they could do for me. Instead of telling me, common sense stuff, first thing that goes when the business goes is your employees. Well, instead of letting my employees go, I tried everything to keep them. I needed to keep my red seal, otherwise I wouldn't be able to work in city limits. So he negotiated a new deal with me, and he was the last one to go. I had 3 employees, and I was making money. We were even talking about maybe building spec houses. That all ended when the oil was selling at a negative price. And then in this country, this part of the country, everybody is the way they are because they've been raised to be that way. They're cutthroat. I'm a proud Westerner. There's nothing wrong with Saskatchewan, Alberta. But we live in a city, that relies on oil patch workers. And the moment times get tough, everybody else becomes a handyman or somebody in the construction industry, and they're lowballing you when I have a mortgage and children and all of this stuff based on what I was making, and I'm trying to stay alive, and boom, nothing. So when I got hurt back in 2019, I was actually working for my sister for $500 just to have work. And that's when I ripped out my shoulder doing demo work, which normally would have been one of my employees. And if he would have got hurt, would have had WCB. But I didn't have WCB because I listened to some bad advice. And the rest is history. I ended up losing more money because I had to hire out people to take on contracts that I had said that I was going to do. So then I was losing money on jobs that I had signed paperwork on. The clients would not renegotiate. The last day I worked was January 9th of 2020. I was scheduled for surgery. I had Clefbaum injury. That's what I call it, because that's what my doctor told me. If I was Oscar Clefbaum, I would know exactly what I was going through because I had the same injury. That's a hockey reference. Sorry, people that don't understand. Anyways, I was 3 days from shoulder surgery when the lockdown hit. So I lived on morphine-based meds and minimal movement until further notice. 9 months later, 9 months after they finally knew what was wrong with me. So now we're looking, I did it in August, I was diagnosed in November, supposed to have surgery in, I can't remember when COVID lockdown was. Then I waited for another 9 months. Then I finally got my surgery. They did what they could. I went through physio and everything seemed to be going good. I couldn't work at what I used to do, but I wasn't given anything other than a weight restriction. I was told 30-pound weight restriction. Within a year, my shoulder started to dislocate again. And it was in this very room. I literally spun around like this in my office chair and my shoulder popped up. It took me 20 minutes to get it back in. Well, I got a hold of my doctor the next day. Went for more scans and x-rays and it's all torn up again. Didn't know what. Seen my surgeon January of 2023 probably, and he was very irate because he started to blame everything on me because I was pushing a lawnmower, I was using a shopping cart, I had the audacity to use a riding lawnmower that didn't have power steering, all sorts of excuses. And not once after I was done physio did the physiotherapist or my surgeon or my GP ever tell me what I could or could not do. They just told me I had a 30-pound weight restriction. Well, one doesn't think about pushing and pulling as a weight restriction. To me, that's lifting. Well, I had used an impact wrench. I had hung on to a sawzall. I had even swung a hammer. We had a tree fall over in our backyard and completely wrecked all our fence and everything. And we had nowhere to put our St. Bernard anymore, so with the wife's help, we managed to get the fence back up and stuff so that we had somewhere to keep our dog. I mean, my dog shouldn't have to be tied up 24/7. Anyways, he took me off all my meds. He told me to go 30 days, and if I couldn't handle the pain, to call him back. If I couldn't handle the pain before he called me back in 30 days, to let him know. And that was that. It was quite embarrassing because it happened right in an emergency room in the hospital in Saskatoon. Anyways, 90 days later, he calls and he apologizes. And he says, I am very sorry for the way I acted. I have reviewed your file and you were never told anything to do with restrictions, what you could or could not do. And I actually can't even find where they said you had a weight restriction. Where did you get that from? And I said, from you. You told me verbally. You told me verbally that I was supposed to be following the 30-pound weight restriction. And you had told me after my second surgery, by the way, I had 2 surgeries, because after the first one failed, they tried to go back in and refix it. Well, by this time, it had been so long since the original injury, my tendons no longer were able to be sewn. There's nothing left. He said it looks like white tissue paper. So I was at wit's end. I had a nervous breakdown in 2000, and I don't remember what the year was now. Yeah, I'm not trying to thick it in, but when my dad died, I was out of town trying to earn money because things had been tough. And my dad died while I was away. Never got to say goodbye, blah, 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 blah. 4 months later, I had a nervous breakdown. I couldn't work, couldn't sleep. I've been on medication ever since. They figure it was because I found out that I'm most likely autistic, and I suffer from OCD and ADHD and depression. And I had used cigarettes since I was a young person to hide behind, use that as my medication. Anyways, there's been lots that's happened in my life in the last decade to write a book. And I've actually had a friend on Twitter that says maybe I should write a book at some point. I mean, I'm the typical prairie kid, raised the typical prairie way, and so on and so forth. So getting back to things. So I decided to try to apply for CPP disability. A lot of people don't know that it exists. It's called CPPD. And it's for people who've fallen through the cracks, that are unable to work. So my surgeon, he was kind of said, well, you know, we're going to switch it to this type of pain medication because you've been on this one for too long, and we're going to put you through some more physio, and we're going to have to decide what we're going to do. And basically just phone consultations to find out how I'm doing. Well, I'm an honest guy. I can deadlift. If I lock my arms to my rib cage and I lift with my elbows only, I've figured out how to do stuff. However, the final decision is that the shoulder was not able to be repaired anymore, and what was left there was almost healed, but healed incorrectly. So that's when I had asked my doctor to apply for replacement. And my doctor, great guy, come up with a plan, sent it off, and I was turned down. They told me that it was better for me to follow the drug plan and lifetime physio and change my lifestyle and work. So in the meantime, I had applied for CPPD, and I learned everything. So in the background through all of this, everybody's got to remember, I'm online, in and out, I'm on disability, I'm at home, I'm trying to stay sane. And that's when I came across this political sub-thread to my whole existence. So I ran in the last federal election back in April. I didn't get many votes, 186, excuse me. However, I did our party proud. I got votes in, I think it was 150 of 188 polling stations, or like voting areas. And the lady who won, I mean, she kicked my ever-loving derriere. I came in dead last, pretty much, I do believe. Yeah, I did. Conservatives are hard to beat in this part of the country. Anyways, so during my CPPD, I was initially declined by being told that I had to be a paraplegic to qualify. Since I was in construction, that was the basic parameters that I'd have to fall into to be able to start claiming CPPD. Well, obviously, I'm not a paraplegic, I can, all that stuff. So, my doctor told me when the second surgery failed, reapply. This time, we're going to add on your mental health, because your mental health has taken a big hit since you've been going through all this. I have seen it, your wife has seen it, everybody else has seen it. I was not in a good place. So we added the fact that autism, anxiety, OCD, and depression were making it difficult for me to be in public. But you also got to realize a lot of that was pandemic, being stuck at home, and many different things. So it was going well. So just here, 3 months ago, I get a phone call. I'm sorry, get a little bit more. I'm not, it says I'm a proud father of dumbass kids. I'm not a proud boy. Trust me, I'm not. Anyways, they wanted some follow-up paperwork done by my GP, which he did. And she asked me why didn't I fill out the paperwork that was sent to me, and we somehow had missed some mail. Anyways, she agreed to do it over the phone. And so we had a conversation. And as for my part of being unable to do my line of work due to my shoulder injury, it's my predominant arm, my right, that part was all good. But she needed to double check, because if we were reapplying with the addition of mental health on top of it, there was questions that needed to be asked. And I was like, oh, no problem. I'm not going to lie to you. You're a government official. So I was honest, and she asked me all these questions. And then, so she wanted to know, because I had worked with Frozen Penguin Collectibles during the 2 years I was on disability. So I was still filing my tax return, charging GST and everything through PayPal or eBay or whatever. And so I explained to her that's what I had done while I was in a sling and doing all this, because my wife didn't want me going stir crazy. I was getting paid injury, so why not? I was making a few $100 a week, so my wife didn't care. If you make $800 clear a month, why not? So then she wanted a bunch of information to do with that, because, well, if that's something you were doing from home, and maybe you could do it from home again, and if that's the case, then maybe you won't qualify, because you can prove that you can have a job from home. Not necessarily Frozen Penguin Collectibles, but a job. I could get a remote position somewhere doing something. However, I only got a grade 12 diploma, a school of hard knocks. I learned how to do everything myself, built my own home, built my own shop, helped my dad build things. That's how I learned by doing, learned by watching. Your typical, not the proper way, but sometimes the best way to go about things. And that's what construction people will tell you. Anyways, she asked me if, other than that, was there anything else I had done to prove that I might be able to succeed in a different position. And I said, well, I can't lie, since you are working for the government, I need to be fully honest, and I ran as a candidate in the last federal election. I said, I'm in this riding, I ran for this party, and so on and so forth. And she kind of chuckles on the other end. And I mean, we're all being honest. We're on a conference call me and the wife and her, and she says, Daryl, don't take this the wrong way, but that might have been the biggest blunder you did while you were injured. And I'm like, oh, I said, why is that? She says, do you know what kind of cojones it takes for somebody in your position to decide to run in the federal election? You're telling me that you can't handle being around large crowds and several people. However, you decide to run in a federal election? And I said, well, sometimes things are bigger than myself. And she's like, well, that's commendable. However, I need to speak to my supervisors. We'll see how this goes. So, lo and behold, I get disqualified a second time because I have proven that, yes, I can work, A, in public, B, with people, and 3, do it whilst having my mental deficit. So that could get into a whole bunch of other things. I guess maybe I'm just stronger than others. I'm not ever going to say anything bad about anybody's personal struggles. However, I do know people personally who I guess maybe lie a little bit better than I do. That's all I'm going to say about that. And so here we are. We had no choice. Our bank that we were with had told us that next year there was a good chance that we might not renew our mortgage due to circumstance. I'm not going to go as to what them circumstances are because it is all either point of view or what have you. We did find a new lender, a great lender. Michael was a great broker. And now we're with a bank in Ontario. Yeah, born and raised in Saskatchewan. 50 plus years at one bank. And now I'm with a bank in Markham, Ontario. Treated us well. Was able to get all my bad debt paid. I was able to get liens taken off of my property. I am no longer looking like a scourge of the earth, because when you're a sole proprietor, you got to be prepared that if you're going to take the lumps, they're all on you. There's no claim in bankruptcy. You claim bankruptcy as a sole proprietor, they'll take your clothes. They'll pretty much take your kid. Everything has a value. And that's that. I would have lost everything. I would have lost my wife and kids, probably, and not from the government, thankfully, but they would have frickin' see you later, alligator. However, mine chose to lump it. Lump it. Absolutely lump it. Lost all my credit cards, all my debt, all my credit rating, everything gone. Gone. And due to bad advice. On poor business. Anybody you talk to that have hired me will tell you first and foremost, I ran a damn good business. I was proud of it. And good people sometimes finish last. So 2026 is going to be a new page. Whew. It's all behind me now. Whew. So, I am starting up my sole proprietorship. I am starting up Frozen Penguin Collectibles. Maybe not right away. I need things to do, but I will. I'm not too sure exactly what time. I have friends, I got family, and I got lots of people that I can hopefully rely on to help me get that going. I need to finish. I can't do it in this little room anymore. This room is 10 by 16. I can't do it. I have a whole mezzanine in my shop that we've been slowly trying to convert into a new office, man cave, and hockey card central. That will get done. On top of that, when I first got hurt, my one insurance company in Toronto, you know what they said to me? Daryl, you are never going to be fixed. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. Our doctors, our lawyers are saying, you're done. We're going to cut you a check for the full 2 years. We're going to cancel your policy, and we're going to tell you have a nice life. And I thought, oh, what a bunch of jerks. You know, they just don't want to have to deal with me, so they want to do a payout and get rid of me. Guess what? They were right. everybody else was wrong, even my GP. Who knew? Anyways, got a check for 28 grand. Said to the wife, guess what? I ain't going to just put this in my bank account and live on it. I'm going to invest some of it properly. No, not RRSPs. No stocks, no nothing. That is smart investing. I said wise. Sometimes being wiser is better than being smarter. Only certain times. I went out and I spent $9,300 of that $28,000 on tools. What for? Well, lo and behold, I met Slavo Ketch. That man did just as much for me as my family, as my therapist. He became my mentor. He became my mentor. And I said to my wife, I'm going to own a wood shop. Since I was a kid, I wanted a wood shop, and I'm going to own one. I went out. I bought a commercial wood lathe. I bought a commercial planer. I bought a commercial table saw. I bought commercial. They're all in crates in my shop. Why are they still in crates? I have nowhere to put them. I have one last bay on my shop that I built when I was making good money. And right now it's got my truck from when I was 25. I had the sweetest little ride. $13,000 stereo. It was the bomb. My kids fight over it. I've been saving it for my son. Well, it's in a gravel area and junk. Everybody has one. Back in 2022, I got a quote to get it concreted, electrical, everything done for the tools I bought. $10,000. Went back to the bank. I said, I need $10,000 on our next rewrite. Oh, what for? I said, well, I need a means of income. My insurance is running out, and I'm not going to have anything I could do because I have a 30-pound weight restriction. Oh, Darryl, sure wish we could. You don't have a job. We can't lend you any money. I said, well, add it to my mortgage. Oh, well, you just better be happy if we renew your mortgage. Oh, what are you talking about? Well, we know your insurance is running out too. This mortgage is based on 2 incomes. I'm like, well, that's why I'm here. I'm not going to go into that any further. Now you know I own a different bank. I still have not got my wood shop done. Still have not got my breaking cave, whatever you want to call it, my operating area for my card business open. It's all about money. My wife does what she can. We do what we can. Hell, the last 6 months I've been picking garbage out of people's yards and scrapping it just to make money. It doesn't make you a ton of money. But I will have Frozen Penguin Creations up and running by this time next year. It is going to be called Frozen Penguins Collectibles and Creations. I have logos made up. I have done everything. I just need the means and the way to come up with the money to get it finished. Anybody got any ideas? Begging? Borrowing? Stealing? I've thought about a GoFundMe. Hell, I didn't get a single Happy New Year's text. Not a one. I have 2 sisters. 12 nieces and nephews. In-laws. Nobody thinks about me enough to even wish me Happy New Year. I had a few people on the good old Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I refuse to use it. We'll be coming back because I'm going to have businesses. So now it's up to you guys. I'm going to post this on my YouTube page, both to my personal page and to my Frozen Penguin page. I will send links for both. Only on Twitter, because that's all I have. Hopefully my wife will share it on Facebook. That's where I'm at. I don't normally do stuff like this. It's been a long time since I did an update video, but I have no choice. I have to do something. I'm 54 years old. Some days I feel like I'm 84. Sometimes I don't want to be here. Sometimes I want to just want to talk to my dad. I just like have one more conversation. He'd have all the right answers. Dads always do. But if I can't make him proud in the political circle, which I'm not backing down from, I don't have any experience in that either. But I'll keep doing the do. But if anybody out there wants to help, I could sure use it. If I don't get any, I'll prove you all wrong. 2026 is a new year. 2026 is not going to be the last decade for me. It's not going to define me the way the last 10 has. 2026 is going to be a success. It has to. I'm sick of 10 years of hell. And I've said some dumb things to some people I love about doing some pretty dumb things. But I won't do that. I know better. Bigger, stronger, wiser. So, people can complain at me, people can make fun of me, people can call me out. I don't care. I'm 54. I've earned the right to say to say how I feel, to say why I feel that way. Do I say stupid things from time to time? Yes, people tell me I do, but that's me. My sausage is getting, well, in this case, warm because it's cut up summer sausage. That's my supper today. I got work to do. I got some emails I got to send out tonight. I got some video to upload. We're at 39 minutes. So, I put it all out there. If you just want pom-poms to cheer me on, so be it. But you know what? It's winter time. Time to put my Sasquatch on. Make myself look more Canadian. And to remind everybody, I am a proud father to good kids. And I ain't gonna disappoint them. Love you all. Peace. Watch out for me. I'm coming this year. I swear. Talk to you later. Bye.